But here's the thing about getting noticed. How do you actually get noticed? And for every CEO, executive, anybody that I've worked with, getting noticed always begins with noticing. With noticing the gifts that are inside of you, with noticing the gifts that are inside of them, with noticing the irritation that they're showing you about you. I was down in DC, I was speaking to 12 or 13 roughly CEOs. I was so inspired by these guys. These guys are like leading companies whose products or services are changing the world. And so in order to get kind of started, I wanted each one of them to tell me what they came here to get. This really interesting thing happened. Maybe the second guy in, we'll call him Frank. Frank was like, my greatest challenge is getting my team to actually listen to each other. They interrupt each other all the time. I can't figure out how to get them to just listen to each other. All right, so he finished, and my 3 guys down the way, right, started to share. And it was kind of really inspiring what he was sharing. You're right in the middle of it. Frank cut him off. Frank cut him off and said, oh, wait, excuse me, and then he kept going. And I just sort of stood there, and I looked at him, and I went, wonder why your team cuts each other off. Folks on the outside always show us who we're being. If you're not noticing what touch moves and inspires you, you'll never get noticed. If you're not passionate and showing your passion authentically, you'll never get noticed. You'll always want to be noticed, and being noticed is only in the present moment. I'll go into that in a minute. If they're complacent, it's probably because you're complacent. But yeah, how do we get into this place of complacency? I'm going to take complacency and add to complacency irrelevancy. Because the two, in my mind, go hand in hand. So I'm going to say it again. Complacency and fear of irrelevancy. If there's one training that I could give to you, which we are not going to do a lot of today, but we might do a little bit of today, is training on how to be vulnerable. Right? Because if we say that we're going to achieve this thing, which is going to propel us, by the way, to get uncomfortable, which is going to propel us to stay relevant, we have to be willing to be vulnerable and share what it is that matters to us, what's in our heart. The challenge is that most people never want to share what's truly in their heart. Because if they share it and they don't achieve it, becoming irrelevant causes us to push people to perform. It causes us to want to get noticed. It causes us to focus on ourselves. It causes us to have our egos take over. When we stop worrying about becoming irrelevant and start letting ourselves get curious, and we start to share the things that stir our soul and our heart, people naturally want to perform. People naturally come to you. People naturally want your opinion. And you don't have to push anymore. All you have to do is pull out their greatness. And how do you do that? By sharing.